Hey guys, Tronics here. It is March 23rd. It is cold out, and I'm getting ready to prep the bike for the spring. It's going to be getting warm pretty soon, so I thought I'd do a quick video on what you guys should do getting it ready for the spring. In this case, I'm going to be doing a little bit more. The bike is 2 years old now, so I'll be doing a coolant flush. I already did the brake fluid, and I should have did a video on that, but it's pretty easy. If anybody wants me to do a video, I will definitely do that. So the first thing we're going to do is do a coolant flush. So it starts by removing the side piece here. You're going to do all 3 bolts. Same on the other side, because you're going to be able to get to the radiator cap, which is right here. And then on the other side of the radiator, there's a bleed screw that we need to get to. After you remove the blinker bolt, this isn't going to come off, so there's a little bracket in the back of this thing. It's held on by 2 10mm bolts. So just unbolt that, and then we can let this dangle, and we can get to the radiator. With the bracket removed, you can see this piece is just dangling out of the way, and we can get to everything. So the radiator cap is here. What we're going to want to do is loosen this clamp off of this hose and take the hose off and let the coolant drain out of that. Some other components is there's a bleed screw right there, and then on top of the radiator over here, which you can't see, we have to remove this side also. There's another bleed screw, so when you fill it. And then of course under the seat is the coolant reservoir, which will drain with either some type of siphoning device or a tube or something to get the coolant out. We'll disconnect the battery and we'll siphon out the coolant in here, and then get some distilled water, and I'll show you the process for that. You don't have to take the bolt out completely out of this side for the blinker, but this moves it out of the way, and you can see there's a little plastic screw on top of this. That's the other bleed screw. The tools I'm going to use is actually, this is a brake bleeder that I bought at Harbor Freight a long time ago, but it uses an air compressor for suction, and it works actually pretty well. It just has a hose on it, and I actually started to siphon out the coolant, and I'll show you how this works. You're going to stick the hose, actually remove the battery to make this easier. Stick the hose in the reservoir, like that. Squeeze the trigger, and you can see the coolant coming out. And that's pretty much it. So what we'll do now is we'll get some distilled water, put it in the reservoir here, and then flush it out again. We'll just keep doing that until a gallon of distilled water. You don't want to use tap water or anything like that, especially when you're flushing out your system like I'm going to do. You're going to put water into the radiator, and then you're going to start the bike and then let it circulate through. The reason why you don't want to use anything other than distilled water is because it has impurities and stuff like that, and it could cause some damage. So use distilled. It's only a few bucks. In this case, I got it for free. One of my friends got it from work. So we're going to dump some water into the reservoir here. shake it a little bit, make sure it gets in there, and then you can release the rubber strap that goes around this thing, so you can take this out. There's a hose on the bottom, right there, and then there's one on the top. I'm not going to take this out completely, but I'm just going to clean it off because it's all full of dirt. But then it'll definitely let you see if you have any crap that's left in there. The coolant looks pretty scaly, if you will. It has like a lot of debris in it. It's like chunky almost, but you know, good thing to check your coolant. You don't want that stuff in your system. So I'm going to clean this up, and then we're going to drain it from over here. We're going to loosen the clamp here, take the hose off, and then there is a bolt right here, right there, if you can see it. That's the another bleed screw. Take that off and let the coolant drain from the brain. I don't know if you can see in the side there, but you can see it's all like, there's a lot of deposits in there. Yeah, we definitely want to, and this is only 2 years old. And I mean, I know the maintenance says to flush it after 2 years, but there's a lot of crap in here. So I'll show you what the coolant looks like after I drain it. So I got the clamp off here. I'm just about to take the hose off, and it'll drain. So let's see if I can get that on camera for you. That was fun. Still got to do the bleed screw on the bottom there and open up the bleed screw on the top of there. But I'll drain the rest of it, and I'll show you what the coolant. I had to take the belly pan off. So the bleed screw, which is right here, that's 10 millimeter also. So we're going to take that out and let the coolant drain from it. And that's it. So the bolt has a copper washer on it. They say to replace it, but I'm going to reuse it. If it leaks, I'll just get another one. Okay, so now we're going to fill it. We're going to put the clamps back on and stuff like that. Fill it with distilled water. Okay, so I reconnected the clamps, put the bolt back in underneath there, radiator cap is back on, bleed screw is back on in here, and the other bleed screw is in. It's filled with distilled water. Connect to the battery back up. This is filled with distilled water also. So now we're going to run it until the fan comes on, and that'll make sure everything's flushed out. Then once the fan comes on, we'll shut the bike off, let it cool down, drain all the water out of it again, and then put in the coolant. For coolant, There's many choices. You're probably wondering, why am I using Honda? Well, a lot of guys run engine ice, and that's fine and good, but it's $20 or $23 for half a gallon. The Triumph takes 0.63 gallons, so you'll have to buy two, so that's $40. This Honda Type 2 coolant is silica and borate free, and it's also blue, and it's pre-diluted, and there's many articles on the internet with a lot of guys running this in their motorcycles with no issues, and it only cost me $20.45 at the local Honda dealership. So this is what I'm going to be using. Pre-diluted, don't mix it. So that's what we'll be putting in the bike. So I gotta find my freaking key. I don't know what I did with it. Shit. Here it is. Get this out of the way. Just make sure nothing's in the way, because this is the first time I'll be starting the bike too from all winter. So I just don't want to run it for like 2 seconds. I did check the oil level's good, so we should be fine to start it. Fire in the hole. Alright, I'm going to time it for 20 minutes. Alright, well, the bike warmed up in about 15 minutes or so. Fans came on, let the bike cool off. Did the exact same thing, drained out everything. When I took this radiator cap off, it was kind of foamy, like a gray foam. I don't know what the heck that was all about. So it definitely needed to be flushed. So right now I'm just waiting for it to drain out anything else that's in here. And we'll reconnect everything. And we should be good. So that's how you do a coolant flush. I'll show you what I do next with filling it up and everything. Same procedure as before. Now, of course, you're going to pour the coolant in the radiator until it comes to the top. And you're going to also make sure that it comes out over here too, and then put the screw back in it. And then you're going to just want to make sure that there's no air in these tubes and stuff like that. Then you're going to fill your reservoir up to the line, and then we're going to start it up again and let the fans come on again, and then let the bike cool, take the cap off again, and just make sure that we have enough in there, and if we have to put in any more, that's what we'll do. And then you're pretty much done. So that's how you do a coolant flush on your Triumph.